Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show, and today, oh ho ho, I'm going to start off with something, and this is going to evolve, I gotta tell you. Had a thought. I remember I was talking on the show where people were giving away their Bibles up in Kingsville. I gotta think that the people of Kingsville, I call them the Kingsville Kooks, gotta be the Kingsville Kooks, because they don't have a brain. They're blaming God for the COVID. Now, I thought about that. It took me a while. I'm a little slow, Got a lot on my mind. I'm doing, working away, doing my thing. And it dawned on me. Since Bill Gates and the whole lot have created all these problems that we're facing, they're controlling Canada, they're paying the mayors off to put these frickin' masks in. I hear we're going back to stage 1 tomorrow in Essex County, which is all bullshit for a fakery because people are so effing stupid. And like I said, after going through what we're going through today, I used to always wonder how the Hebrews, when they got out of Egypt, could have been so stupid. But you know what? It seems to be a contagion. Never went away, and we all seem to have this infectious disease called stupidity. So I thought about this. People are giving the Bibles to these places, these secondhand stores and whatever. What if they actually grew a brain? What if they actually grew a brain and realized as Bill Gates and the Gavis and all these other places, the Chinese, the Zionists, the Illuminatis, the Jesuits, the Freemasons, Trilaterals, the government in general, and all that's involved, realize that they created these problems that we're dealing with today. They've always been the creation of our problems. All these problems that we're facing in this life have all come from these institutions. But what if she found out that the Bill Gates Foundation, the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, was behind the fake COVID, the fakery of fakes, the effery of efferys, the COVID fakery? Would they tell Melinda and Bill Gates to fake right off? Would they tell Melinda and Bill Gates, we're not going to buy any more Microsoft products from you anymore? We're tired of having viruses put on our computers, and now you're trying to put viruses inside of us. We will no longer support Microsoft. Fake right off with your fakery. What do you think? What do you think? You think that could possibly happen? See, we made an awareness. If there was an awareness program to get people to realize that the Bill Gates Foundation, Bill, Melinda Gates, whatever you want to call it, the Two Aliens Foundation called Gates, was behind the fakery, behind the mask propagation, behind the bribery of the premiers and the bribery of the mayors of the Greater Toronto Area, the bribery behind the mayors all across Ontario, all across Canada. Would everybody then boycott Microsoft? Sorry, not Microsoft. Don't boycott Microsoft, they're a radio station. But would everybody boycott Microsoft the same way that they're going to boycott God by giving away their Bibles to a secondhand store and blaming God for the problems we have at hand? It's amazing to me the stupidity goes this low on this level. And again, it's coming from Kingsville. The Kingsville Kooks. The Kingsville Kooks. Gotta tell you, I didn't think it was even remotely possible that people could devolve to this level of stupidity. And I got a friend of mine in Lethbridge. She calls me up every so often. A lot of times we exchange, media and what's going on in Canada. And I always tell her nothing this stupid is meant to survive. She starts laughing when I say it because it's true. Nothing this stupid is meant to survive. Nothing this stupid is meant to live. Anything this stupid is doomed to die and die quicker. Goes back to the biblical reference, my people perish for lack of wisdom, my people perish for lack of understanding, or my people perish for lack of knowledge. If you're this stupid, you don't have long to live. Gotta tell you. The last thing you want to do at this stage in this life and what's going on right now is to boycott God. You're going to need God more than ever. And if you're boycotting God now, ho, 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 and when the shit hits the fan, I can see it now. Oh, God, oh, God. And God's going to say, who are you? Who are you? Why are you even calling my name? Remember that Bible that you had and you threw it away because you thought I was responsible for your problems? See, we are responsible for our problems because things like a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation shouldn't exist. Zionists shouldn't exist. Jesuits shouldn't exist. Freemasonry shouldn't exist. Illuminati shouldn't exist. Rothschilds and things like that of that nature shouldn't exist. They do because they've been allowed to have existence. If we knew then what we know now today, would we eliminate the existence of these things that are controlling our lives? It's an interesting question. Would we eliminate them? Would we get them off the planet? Would we drive them away? Would we quit buying their shit that they're selling us? Would we quit going and supporting their markets that control the economic forces of this planet? Would we all quit? Interesting question. I don't know. I don't know. I wish there was another operating system other than Microsoft. I really do. I wish there was something better. I mean, there are other things like Unix and other stuff, but there's a lot of things that those programs can't do like what we have today. And the problem has been that Bill Gates was allowed to steal a program, market it, make billions on it, and then sabotage the programs with viruses so that you can keep buying viral programs of shit you don't need, but because he created the problem, he created more money for himself. So imagine if we all woke up and realized that the sabotaging of our lives came from people like this. Imagine if the Kingsville kooks actually woke up and realized that they've been had, that the masks don't protect anything, they don't stop anything, viruses will get through. There's an old joke. Basically, if you fart, can you smell your own shit through the mask? If you can, then guess what? If a fart can get through, anything else can as well. So what's the point in wearing a mask that can't even stop a fart? Rip! Oh, man, you're deadly. God, what did you eat? That's death out of an arse. Woo! Imagine that. Imagine that. Can't stop a fart. If it can't stop a fart, it can't stop nothing. And yet they force you to wear a mask that does absolutely nothing. As I stated the other night, this is the perfect assassination weapon ever devised by a group of malevolence. They have given you the means to execute yourself. This is astoundingly evil. You got to give it to them, though. You got to give it to them. They have figured out that the general population, probably about 90% of them, are stupid enough to assassinate themselves. So here's the means and the ends to do so. Wear your mask. Oh, we have a mandate out there. Oh, we're going to put you in stages. Oh, yeah, you're in stage 1. You got to wear a mask even when you take a piss. You got to put it on your willy. Make sure your willy doesn't get COVID while you're taking a piss, Your flower has to wear one too, just in case you might get COVID when you take a piss. I mean, just the way it goes. Well, you got to put it on your you got to put it on your backside. You got to cover your anal opening there, just in case. Just in case when you take a poop, You might get COVID. I mean, this is how ridiculous this sounds, and I know it sounds ridiculous, sort of crude as well, and I get that too. But I'm trying to make a point here, a little shocking. I'm giving you this mental picture, you know, putting something on your arsehole, putting something on your genitals, just so you can protect yourself from something that is imaginary. You know, now they want you to have sex from a distance. And millennials are stupid enough to believe this. Oh, honey, I want to have sex with you. Okay, let me get on my computer. You go on your computer, and I'll put my hand on my computer. You put your hand on your computer, and we'll touch each other that way. Like the Demolition Man. He puts on that head thing, you know. Next thing you know, it's running synapses into the brain. He's seeing her naked, she's seeing him naked. They're projecting nudity to each other, and before you know it, they're getting all erotic. They're breathing heavy, and they're going crazy and whatever. And he finally takes the helmet out and says, "What the hell was that?" He said, "That was sex." She says, "No, it isn't. That's not sex. I don't know what that is, but that's not sex." That's where the millennials are going. Here, let me put my hand on my monitor. You put your hand on your monitor. Is it good for you? Oh, it's good for me. Woohoo! Wow! Hey, did you have an orgasm by touching your hand on that monitor? Yeah. Oh, I got off on that. Woohoo! Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But they'll believe it. They'll fall for it. They'll completely, you know, be beguiled by this nonsense. See, the last time I checked, again, it's been quite some time, I've got to tell you, but from my memories, and those are still intact, sex is a full body contact sport. And you have to have a full body connection, not putting your hand on the monitor. This is for you millennials that, you know, giving you an idea how this works, so that you don't, you know, get sucked into a program thinking this is the way you make contact with your other half. Just so you know, so that, you know, when the time comes and they say, "Oh, here's a computer, put your hand here," he'll put his hand there, or she'll put her hand there, you'll touch and get all excited. Woohoo! The only nudity you're going to see is the palm of her hand or his hand. Yes, that'll excite you. Wow. And I'm belaboring this because I'm making a point. The level of, I mean, like I said, the Kingsville kooks, you know, I call them the Kingsville kooks, you know, idiots. And the complicity factor that's going on here. Everyone needs to just say, "We have had enough of your bullshit. Make it stage 0.5, make it, you know, whatever. We're not complying." Just like they do down in the States. We're not complying. We're not wearing no masks. You can kiss our Mediterranean ass. It's just that way. Everyone throw the mask out in the streets. You know, let the city worry about cleaning up the mess. Just tell the city that when you throw your mask out in the street, that you're protecting the street from COVID. Woo! I want to take this, you know, I made the point of blaming God on something like this. This is really far-fetched. Really? Oh God, this is your fault. You made this. Hell, God, you weren't even allowed to go see God in a church because the government stopped you from going. How the hell is this God's fault? Yeah, this is what happens when God is not in the equation. Shit like this happens. Governments go rogue. This is why we have the problem we have. No God. No living God. We have gods. There's all kinds of gods out there. You got Moloch and Baal, which is most of what most of you are following. You know, we got Lucifer, and we got Apollyon, and we got all these other so-called gods out there. There's only one living God. There is no other. Zip. And these gods, if you want to call them a god, these demons, these losers, these wannabe gods, will be bending their knee to the living God. That's how that rolls. Okay? They will be bowing down to him. I would suggest you might want to re-evaluate what you're believing. Point is, if you're putting God out of the equation and blaming God for something he had nothing to do with, and you're exonerating guys like Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, something's wrong with that picture. Something is really wrong with that picture. You know, and again, common sense. These are people that again have Bibles. Now, whether or not they have read these Bibles, I do not know. But when you read the Gospels, I always tell everybody to read the Gospels, read what Jesus had to say. All I ever saw Jesus do was heal the sick, bring them back from the dead, blind to see, the deaf to hear. I don't remember reading anywhere in the Gospels that he created COVID and infected people. Never read that. Could be wrong. Maybe I missed it. Possible. So perhaps if you can find that in the Gospels, please send that to me. But all I ever read that Jesus ever did was heal. Heal and talked about the kingdom of God and eventually shed his blood so that you and I could be free from this genetic and DNA entrapment that we have going on right now in this planet. That's what I read. Again, I could be wrong. Possibly. Maybe some of the Kingsville kooks that have given up their Bibles can show me in the Bible where God created COVID and gave it to everybody. I'd like to see that. Be interesting if they could find it. Be interesting if they even read the Bible. It's just my concept, you know. I have very little regard for stupidity because, like I said, I don't believe anything this stupid is meant to live. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know if they're living or existing, you know. And I don't know if they got a brain malfunction. I have no idea. But, c'est la vie. Now let's get on with the testing. The testing of COVID. COVID boogeyman is coming to get you. Oh, the COVID boogeyman. Woo-hoo. That PCR test or that PR test that they're talking about doesn't work. Never did work. Tell you why it never did work. Because they do not have a sample to go by. In order for that machine to do the work that it's supposed to do, to be able to immediately designed to diagnose whether or not you have COVID, it first has to have the genetic material or the biometric of the COVID in order for it to be able to read it, because from what I understand, it breaks it down a million different ways. But if it doesn't have a sample, it can't determine whether you or not you have COVID. So what tests are they using then? Oh, they're not. They're doing a little swab test. Why are they swabbing you? Because they're extracting your DNA. I bet you the Kingsville kooks have lined right up to get their DNA taken from them. So when they turn on the frequencies, they'll be the first people saying, sayonara, I'm gone. They have taken me out of the equation. So there is no test, no real test. There's nothing that they can determine whether or not you have a corona of any kind or a COVID of any kind, because they don't even know what it looks like. Everybody's been sending me things about the NIH saying that the 5G can activate the corona. My ass. What a load of bullshit. They tried that 4 or 5 months ago when the corona first was initiated, and they were blaming the 5G in China activating the corona. That was a mistake then, and it's going on now still. Just because it's an NIH doesn't mean it's accurate at all. The NIH has got tons of studies inside of it stored in their databases that are completely false. Go have a look at the soy studies. They're all out to lunch. All of them. Okay, and there's a ton more other than the soy studies that are out to lunch. So they said this before and found out that China is using 6G, not 5G. And I said that to you 5-6 months ago. Nobody's still listening. They're still talking 5G. People are still 5 or 6G because they're not sure, and I get that too. 6G can permeate and penetrate the skins into the mitochondria and destroy the mitochondria. 5G can't. A tree can stop 5G. They have to cut the trees down. Remember that? So how this can happen, who knows? You know, like I said, I'm not convinced that their evidence is even conclusive. This, I think, is more theoretical and bullshit. If we don't even know what the corona COVID-19 looks like, how can we determine then that a 5D frequency is activating it? This is pure bollocks. All of it. All of it. So like I said, be careful you're not caught up in the distractions. You know, Billy Preston used to sing a song where we go around in circles. This is what they're doing. They're taking you right back to 4 months ago. We're way past that. Way, way past it. But some of you are going back to that. If we have no identifiable means to determine what COVID looks like, all we have is an illustration. Because when you talk to the virologists that actually have looked at COVID, they can't find it. And we just talked about a couple of days ago, a Bulgarian doctor did 1,000 autopsies on people that were supposed to have died from COVID and couldn't find the COVID. Ho, ho, ho. Does it even exist? See, this is the thing. They're testing when they test, and if you have and I said this before, if you have an asymptomatic pneumonia, that is what they're going by. That's not COVID. That is not COVID. That means you've got pneumonia. And they're spraying shit in the air. Chemtrails are coming down on us, so it wouldn't be a bit surprised if they're spreading a pneumonia component in the air. Now, I'm going to point something else out to you that it might be in the air. How many of you go grocery shopping? Pretty much all of us do, right? We go to a supermarket, superstore, Metro, you know, Sobeys, Freshco, Food Basics, Kmart, Walmart, Safeway, whatever you've got in your area. Now, have you ever noticed when you go into these stores, you're not coughing, you're not hacking, you're not doing anything. You're breathing pretty good. You go into the store, you get your stuff, and you get out, and by the time you come out of the store, now you're coughing. How many of you have noticed this or now will pay attention to this? Because they're spraying something in the air system to make you think you've got COVID. They were wiping everything down with chlorine, releasing chlorine gas into the air, which would cause coughing because it would be hacking at your lungs. But the next time you go into even a mall, if your malls are still open, because in Ontario, our beloved dumbasses, our bribed mayors, our bribed medical people, our bribed premier, our bribed mayors in the Greater Toronto Area and in Hamilton, our bribed representatives are going to now enact another form of torture. See, this is the UN torture method. Take away your privileges, give them back to you, and then take them away again. This is torture. How long will this bullshit go on? How long will you stay in your deceptive mode? How long will you keep following Moloch and Baal? How long? How long? How long before you realize they're playing with you like a cat and a mouse? You know, when a cat catches a mouse, they start pawing at the mouse and they play, you know, they tap it here, and they make it feel like it's playful until they swat it and kill it. How long before that happens to you? Don't wind up like the Kingsville kooks. They don't read nothing. They don't research anything. They just follow the mainstream narrative without even thinking that the mainstream narrative is lopsided. Imagine that. Okay, what? All right, I lost my audacity. Decided to choke and puke on me. Anyway, I'm starting it over again. I said, don't be like, how long, I don't know where I left off, so I'm going to say, repeat this part of it. How long are you going to keep walking, you know, being deceived? How long are you going to keep following Moloch and Baal? How long before you wake up? And I said, don't be like the Kingsville kooks who just follow the mainstream narrative and not realize that there's two sides to the coin, and perhaps we should be looking at the other side. You know, like the big truck driver that went down to the big burly truck driver that has no brains and obviously has no testosterone either. Seeing the people down there not wearing a mask and not dropping dead. You know, the mainstream narrative is all people are looking at today. And the Kingsville kooks are not the only ones. There are other people all over the place. And I also made a comment on how long are we going to keep allowing our bribed officials, our bribed mayors, our bribed ministers of health, our bribed premiers, our bribed parliamentarians, our bribed prime ministers. How long are we going to continue allowing these bribed officials to dictate illegal policies in this country? I'm referring to Canada at this point, but this would apply to everybody across the planet. How long before the narrative that they're trying to sell, because a lot of us are not buying their bullshit, how long before the rest of you wake up and realize that you're being killed by the main means of assassination? They are assassinating every one of you with these masks. They're assassinating every one of you with this torture. I don't know if you got this before. I lost part of the audacity, so I'll repeat this part too. This is a torture method because they want to now put everyone back in stage 1, stage whatever, in Essex County, because certain people are shitting themselves because you're not wearing it, because COVID is spreading again. How the hell would they know, since they don't know what it looks like? And when we're looking at the stage 1, going back to it again, this is torture. This is UN torture methodology. Give you a privilege, take it away. Give you another one, take it away too. Okay. They're going to break a lot of you. They're going to break a lot of people because, you know, as the one millennial had expressed to me, all you know, for those of you who are millennial, all you know is the system. And I get your fear. I understand your fear and your anxieties. But if you know they're going to screw you, what are you going to do about it? Now, the one thing that the millennial did say to me, which again kind of not threw me, but sort of surprised me. He said, I know all these things, but I don't know if I could succeed. Let me point something out to everybody on this one. The only thing guaranteed in this life is it ends and we stand before our Maker. That's the only thing that's a guarantee. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You gotta at least have the concept of hope. These are answers that you can that you have. Now it's a matter of applying faith and works to make it happen. Okay, that's it. You might fail. That happens. Then if you do fail, then you have to come up with a different solution. Or you have to come up with another idea. That's life. That's life. Nothing, excuse me, nothing in this life is a guarantee. Nothing. Nothing at all. I was also talking just before I had that interruption that some of you may not be coughing at all or having that dry hack till you go outside and they're chemtrailing or you go into a store. I'm just repeating this just in case it got taken out. And you go into a store and you go shopping. Any of the main box stores, Costco's, Canadian Tire, Giant Tiger, Superstore, Metro, Price Chopper, Food Basics, any of them. You go in, you're getting hit with the facial recognition, your eyes are watering. You're getting hit with the whatever they're releasing in the air ventilation system, and you go outside and you're coughing because they just released something at you to trigger the cough and making you think you might just have COVID. Like I said, when they're swabbing you, that's DNA being taken away and microchipping going on at the same time. So, you have to, like I said, think in these terms, because this is an unfortunate reality. Everything has been hijacked. The bribery of our institutions is deep. Now they're suggesting that the police force wear masks. Why? So they can beat the shit out of you and you can't recognize who they are? We need to find the act under the Police Act where in Ontario and Canada where it's illegal for the police to wear a mask. They shouldn't be wearing a mask. If they're out there patrolling the area, they need to be identified as law enforcement. Just because they wear a uniform doesn't mean anything now. And if they got a mask on, it's going to make people suspect. It's going to put them in danger too. Even the legitimate police, it's going to put a lot of them in danger. People are going to see this mask and going to say, who the hell are you? Show me some ID. Some policemen will have an attitude and get violent with the people that are just demanding what their rights say they can demand. So this is going on now. So I'm just wondering now if the police have been given carte blanche in Canada to beat the shit out of everybody because now they can hide behind the mask. Just makes me wonder. You might want to spread this video or this audio especially in regarding the mask and police officers. Now this is another interesting thing too now. Down in the United States, the government conveniently passed a legislation where they don't have to wear masks. People in the legislation don't have to wear masks. That means people like governors and whatever do not have to wear a mask. Wow. But everybody else does. Well, what do you know? What do you know? Double standard. If the representatives of a state, city, province, country doesn't have to wear a mask, neither should you. After all, you pay these bastards, don't you? Don't you pay these bribed bastards to do a job to serve the country and to serve you? Aren't they in the public service sector? And if we're paying them, if we are paying them out of their tax dollars, then they have no business making that kind of legislation, do they? It's just like the CBC in Canada needs to start displaying two sides of this COVID because they're taking public money. Now this is an interesting thing that's gone down in Louisiana, and I think it also applies in Canada. If any of these companies like Walmart, Costco, Canadian Tire, any of the major box stores, Food Basics, Price Chopper, Sobeys, has borrowed money from the government, they are now belong to the public. They cannot keep the public out. They're using public funds in order to function, in order to have built their businesses. And if somebody does require you to wear a mask, you ask them to go into a contract with you. Say you walk into a grocery store, you have an exemption, and they want you to wear a mask, and you say no. Okay, I'm going to get into Walmart and Home Depot are now not requiring to wear a mask. And I think this would apply also in Canada because they're losing money, number one, and they have had some confrontations which has led to legal lawsuits in the respective companies. So you should be able to walk into Home Depot now and Walmart, especially, and probably Costco and the rest of them, without a mask. And they will ask you to wear a mask. You can say no. They'll offer you a mask. You can say no. You should be able to walk into the store now. Any public funded store or market now has no right to keep the general population or public out of the stores. And if anybody demands that you wear a mask, you tell them you want to go into a contract with them, so if anything happens to their health while they're wearing a mask, they will be subject to total liability. This is what you need to start doing. Quit being complicit. I walk in, I have my exemption, and I've had a lot of places here where I'm at tell me I don't need to carry this exemption. Then, they said just walk in and say it. I say, do it as a courtesy. You know, this way there's no conflict, no confrontation, and you know, I don't have to get belligerent and they don't have to get violent. But if you go into a store and they start getting violent with you, then request the names of all the people that have caused the confrontation. You know, and ask to speak to the manager. Because now you need the name and information of the manager of that store, because they're going to be put on the docket for a lawsuit. This is how we have to play the game. Unfortunately, we have to play the game on a level maybe we don't like or are accustomed to. Don't allow it to slide. Don't allow it just to go by. You know, stand your ground. You know, stand your ground. It's important that we set a precedent that the government works for us, not the other way around. We are not their slaves. We're not their Tobies. We're not their stepping stone. They work for us. If they're exacting taxation dollars out of us, they work for us. We're paying them. They have tried, unfortunately, in the Ukraine, they have already tested some of the COVID ideas, and they killed 30% of the test subjects. You'll see the links up here. Check them out. So much for COVID testing and finding subjects to die. Must be prisoners, must be people in jail, maybe military personnel. Now look what Mexico is doing. And I think everybody should be boycotting Mexican tomatoes, especially in Canada. Oh, Canada. You know, don't eat Mexican tomatoes. They want to put COVID vaccines in Mexican tomatoes. They're working on it. And they've already done this in the past with vegetables and even with dairy products that they feed dairy. They had put vaccines in these things so that it would transfer to people. But this, tomato, 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 get your Mexican COVID tomato. Take one bite and die. And we do have these tomato distribution areas here in Canada where they bring in the tomatoes, put them in a box saying made in Canada, and they're from Mexico. So wherever you go shopping, ask them if they have documentation validating where those tomatoes came from. You're better off buying greenhouse tomatoes that are grown in local greenhouses, but make sure they too are not coming from Mexico. This is another assassination weapon that they're using. They're using masks, they're using hand condoms, they're using, the sanitizing gels, which actually strip the body of its defense mechanisms. It's horrific what's going on. Totally horrific. So, again, be aware that they are assassinating most of you with this mandate that they're calling. They're hiding under this guise of we are having problems with COVID and we need to protect you. They're not protecting anybody. They're just making money on the bribery of what they've been bribed. I mean, the other day the Prime Minister was saying that the money that they gave out for that $2,000, now they want to get it all back. I never took it, so I mean, I'm not worried about it, but because I knew the government was going to pull a fast one. They always do. They always have. They give you a crumb and they take the steak. They've always done this. Welcome to Canada, eh? The second most corrupt government on the planet, followed by India and then Venezuela behind Canada. Oh, Canada. I'm sure some Canadians are going to get a little upset if they hear this, but it's a fact. We are number 2 in corruption, and it's showing. Laws are being overlooked. Mandates are taking precedence over laws, and this is all coming from China. I said this the other day as well. China, China, China. It's taken over Canada. We had Tam Tam the scam, telling the Prime Minister what to do till they got sued and they ran away. The Minister of Health in Ontario got sued. He went back to the United Kingdom. Figured he could hide there. Corruption, corrupt to the core. Corrupt to the core. I'm talking about Canada. Not talking about the States. I'm talking about Canada. It's corrupt to the core here. And if you don't think so, you're deluded. If you can't figure out by the way you're being taxed and the way you're being raped, with the price gouging that goes on in this country, stuff that's made in Canada costs you double than shit coming from China. How does that work? Oh, Chinese garlic, 99 garlic, $1. Canadian garlic, $25. What a deal! Canadian garlic, $25. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Canadian products we're being gouged to support a Canadian farmer, and we're subsidizing the crap coming in from China. Why is that? And we don't even know if the stuff coming from China may have some kind of vaccine put into it. Imagine that. Might be possible. Let's kill those Canadians. We'll send them garlic, and we'll send them other vegetable. We'll put in COVID. Aha, COVID. We'll poison those bastards in Canada. Yes. And we'll make it cheap. Really cheap. They'll buy it and die. Could happen. Possibility. Quality ain't what it used to be. That's for sure. I'm always stating on the show, because we're near the end of the show, to read the Gospels. I'm telling you, especially those Kingsville kooks, especially you dumbasses in Kingsville, they're giving away your Bibles because you blame God. Go read your Bible again. Go get your Bible. Go get you another one because you gave yours away, or go buy it back from the secondhand store, and go read the Gospels that Jesus said, and show me where Jesus made COVID. I want to see this. Show me where Jesus killed somebody. Show me where Jesus made you wear a mask, took a bribe. Show me. I want to see this. I like to see this theory that you have that God's responsible. Hell, the government kept you from going to see God in the church. Said, oh, you can't go to church. God might give you COVID. We got God on quarantine. He'll be there for 15 days. Can't get out. You dumbass. All of you. Kingsville kooks. Giving away Bibles. Blaming God instead of Bill Gates. And I bet you these Kingsville kooks are still playing with their Microsoft software and not thinking that Bill Gates created this virus. Isn't that something? But anyway, for the rest of us, go read the Gospels. Read what Jesus had to say. See what Jesus actually did. And read what he's speaking about. And I'm not telling you to believe or not believe. I'm just saying take the opportunity to read a good book. You read there, like I always say, you read every other book. You read all your porn. You read all your magazines like Chatelaine, the Life magazine, Look, Time magazine, and all the rest of that shit. You read science books. You read mathematical books. You read philosophical books. You read newspapers that give you nothing but gossip and bad news. Why not take a walk on the wild side? Open up the Gospels. Start reading what Jesus had to say. Might make a difference in the way you think. You never know. And as I always say at the end too, we are still here by the grace of God. We are still here. Always remember that. We are still here. So that means while we are here and we can still connect, we have hope that we can get through this. And we will get through this. Like I said, none of us are going to get through it on our own. Nobody. Remember that too. And as for you millennials are concerned, read the Gospels. Can't tell you enough about reading the Gospels. And then start thinking, since your group is the most vulnerable to be taken out of the equation, perhaps you might want to start learning some alternatives on all kinds of means and start experimenting with what you can to teach yourself what you need to know. Just an idea. Okay, so on that note, to your health, and we'll see you at the next show. Take care. Sorry, I forgot one more thing on the show. I was looking at my notes and I said, oh crap, I forgot this one. Take a look at the links for anybody that needs proof of the numbers being fabricated. There's a bunch of them there, so you can give them to these morons, Kingsville kooks. You know, I keep mentioning them. I got to mention the Kingsville kooks. I just got to mention the Kingsville kooks because they are kooky. They're mysterious and kooky, whatever. Anyhow, part of the Addams family. All of them. Except the ones that are awake. But look at the links there. And that's going to give you a general idea how the numbers have been completely falsified. So if anyone says, oh, it's spreading, oh my gosh, it's spreading. Here, buddy, here, have a look at this. You know. Doesn't matter what you die of, it's all COVID. This is bullshit. The numbers are not going up. They're lying. Because they've been bribed. They've been bribed so that the stocks of the mask and the stocks on the hand sanitizers and the hand condoms will keep on going up, so people can make money. Inside trading that the Congress and the Senate can do in the United States. They need more money. They need more money. And they need to get it from you. They need to extract it from you. The numbers are bullshit. Take a look. Okay. Share that with these people. Share it with people like this. Here, take a look at this. But what does this say here? And if they say, oh, it's all fake news, tell them the only fake news that's out there is your main channels. Because they're not showing both sides of the equations. This is not fake news, what we're seeing. It's coming from a general publication in the United Kingdom, an actual newspaper publication. So this is not fake. Might just scare the hell out of them. That would be interesting, don't you think? Ah, there goes their hell. No. All right, now I'm going to let you go. Till the next segment, to your out. Take care.